Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Sneha and welcome to Perio Hub. So Perio Hub is a YouTube channel where we discuss dental and periodontology related topics, and if that's something that interests you, then please consider subscribing and sharing this channel with your colleagues. So today it's time for another Perio query wherein we'll be answering Sakir's doubt on antimicrobial peptides. So let's get started. So basically, what are these antimicrobial peptides? So these are biological molecules that bridge the innate and the acquired immune systems in the defense mechanism. So we've not yet spoken about the innate and the adaptive immunity, but just remember that these antimicrobial peptides help in immunity and the defense mechanism of the host. Now these biological molecules can be found in case of plants, it is found in case of certain reptiles like snakes, it is found in insects, it's found in amphibians, and obviously it is found in mammals as well. So in human beings, antimicrobial peptides are associated with the skin, the respiratory system, the gastrointestinal system, the gastrourinary system, and the kidneys. Now, if we talk about the oral cavity to be specific, then it is associated with the saliva, GCF, the oral mucosa, to be specific, the epithelium of the oral mucosa. Now, when have these antimicrobial peptides come into existence? So, somewhere in 1950s, these antimicrobial peptides were isolated from the blood cells. Now, antimicrobial peptides are encoded by certain specific genes. So, there are specific genes which are present in the body which encode these antimicrobial peptides or AMPs. Now these antimicrobial peptides have antifungal action, antibacterial, antiviral action, and antiparasitic action. So they have a broad spectrum of activity against various microorganisms. Now let's talk a little about the structure of these antimicrobial peptides. So what do these peptides mean? Peptides means that they are chain of amino acids. So amino acid chain ranging from 12 amino acids to 100 amino acids. And another important feature is that they are amphiphilic in nature. Now what does amphiphilic means? Amphiphilic means that they have two domains. They have a hydrophilic domain and a hydrophobic domain. So the hydrophilic domain means that they are water attracting. So they attract water, whereas hydrophobic are water repulsing. So they do not like water. So remember, they have both the domains, the hydrophilic and the hydrophobic. Now specifically if we talk about the structure, then antimicrobial peptides can be divided into two parts. We have the primary structure and the secondary structure. So primary structure basically is a positively charged structure with a large portion of the hydrophilic residue. Now this positive charge comes from the arginine and the lysine group of amino acids, and apart from that there is a large hydrophobic residue. Coming on to the secondary structure, this is a little complex, and based upon the secondary structure, these antimicrobial peptides can be classified into various classes or subdivisions. So the first subdivision is the extended indolysine, then we have the alpha helical structure, then we have the beta sheathid, the looped structure, and ultimately the mixed structure. So these are the classes of the antimicrobial peptides. Now specifically talking about humans, antimicrobial peptides which are present most commonly are of two varieties. So we have the defensins and the cathelicidins. Now again, in defensins there are two forms. We have the alpha defensins and we have the beta defensins. Now coming on to alpha defensins, they are secreted more by the neutrophils, whereas beta defensins are secreted by the epithelial cells of the mucosa. Now the human neutrophil defensin 1 to 3 is associated with the saliva, whereas the human beta defensin 1 to 3 is associated with the oral mucosa. So the epithelial cells of the tongue, the palate, the gingiva and the buccal mucosa will secrete the human beta defensin 1 to 3. Now coming on to the cathelicidins, it is only one cathelicidin, that is LL37, which can be isolated from human beings. Now why LL? Because there are two amino acids of leucine which is present. So that is the reason LL. Now LL37 possesses antibacterial action against major periopathogens. Now coming on to the minor defensins which are seen in the oral cavity, we have adrenomedulin, histatines, the tetherin groups and the neuropeptidases. Now let's talk about the mechanism of action of how these AMPs act. So the antimicrobial peptides have broad bactericidal effects, and this bactericidal effect is brought about by two mechanisms. Either by forming transmembrane pores in the cell membrane. So if we have the bacterial cell right here, then the antimicrobial peptides possesses activities so that it can form small pores in the cell membrane of these bacteria, and through the cell membrane there is leakage that happens, causing the cell death. The other way in which antimicrobial peptides act is through intracellular killing. So they form the pores in the cell membrane and they enter into the intracellular area, and further they inhibit the DNA RNA synthesis and the protein synthesis and the other activities of the bacterial cell. So let's understand the steps in which this particular thing happens. So right here we have the antimicrobial peptides, and this is a gram positive bacteria and this is gram negative bacteria. So the first step is the electrostatic attraction of the antimicrobial peptides onto the gram positive and the gram negative bacteria. Now this electrostatic attraction mainly happens because of the amphitelic nature of which we have spoken about before. So the second step after attraction is the attachment of the antimicrobial peptides onto the gram positive and the gram negative bacteria, and this majorly happens because of the secondary structure of the microbial peptide. The third step is the killing of the bacteria. Now the killing of the bacteria is broadly divided into four models. So the first model that we have is the aggregate model. Here we can see an antimicrobial peptide, and remember it has two domains. The hydrophobic domain is pink in color and the hydrophilic domain is blue in color. So remember, hydrophilic is water loving, so blue is water. So just remember like that, hydrophilic is blue and hydrophobic is pink. Now in case of the aggregate model, these antimicrobial peptides aggregate without forming any specific orientation. So here we have the cell membrane, and around this membrane the antimicrobial peptides will just get aggregated. And once the concentration is increased, because of the detergent effect, they form pores and enter into the intracellular space. Now the next model is termed as the toroidal pore model. Now in toroidal pore model, the antimicrobial peptides are arranged perpendicular to the bilipid membrane. So here the hydrophilic portions are associated with the phospholipid head. So as you can see right here, the blue portion is associated with the phospholipid head, whereas the hydrophobic portions are associated with the lipid core. The third model is termed as the Barrel-Steve model. So even here the peptides are arranged perpendicular to the bilipid membrane and they form a barrel-shaped cluster. So have you seen barrels which are made up of wood? So it forms a barrel-shaped cluster, and through the barrel it forms pores through which the leakage can occur. Now coming on to the fourth and the final model, it is called as the carpet model. So in the carpet model, the peptides are arranged parallel to the bilipid membrane. So they are arranged parallel to the membrane and they coat the local area in a carpet-like fashion. So once the concentration of these peptides become increased or once they reach a threshold, it results in a detergent-like activity causing the membrane pores, and here as you can see the peptides are entering through the pores into the intracellular space. So what happens once the peptides reach the intracellular space? So if you have a bacterial cell right here and you have the peptides which have reached the intracellular space, this majorly results in the inhibition of the DNA and the RNA synthesis. It results in decrease in protein synthesis, and these peptides also target the formation of the newer species of bacteria. So they hinder the reproduction of the bacteria as well. Now let's talk about the role of the antimicrobial peptides in the oral cavity, and to be specific in case of periodontitis. So first let's talk about the cathelicidin. So we've spoken about the LL37 and how it is secreted in response to the periopathogens. So LL37 has direct bactericidal action that occurs against the LPS of a gram-negative bacteria, whereas if it is a gram-positive bacteria, it attacks the teichoic acid layer. Now one more important point to be noted is the MMP, which is the matrix metalloprotein, to be specific carry lysine. Now this MMP is secreted majorly by the red complex bacteria such as the Tenarella forsythia, and this MMP contributes to the down regulation of the cathelicidin, that is LL37. Now talking a bit about defensins such as the beta defensin. Now the human beta defensin 1 to 3 is present in the oral cavity. 1 and 2 is associated with the suprabasal layers of the epithelium, whereas 3 is associated with the basal layers of the epithelium. Now similar to the cathelicidins, even the beta defensins act against the LPS of the gram-negative bacteria, and even they have a bactericidal action. Now coming on to the minor defensins such as adrenomedulin. Now studies have shown that the quantity of adrenomedulin is upregulated in case of periodontitis cases as compared to the healthy individuals. Now coming on to histidine. Now histidine is seen to have antifungal action. So even histidine is upregulated during fungal infections such as candidiasis, whereas it is downregulated in case of the healthy situations. Now how can you use these antimicrobial peptides as periodontal biomarkers? So what are biomarkers? Biomarkers are small molecules that can be isolated from different parts of the body. Biomarkers can be isolated from the saliva, from the GCF inside the oral cavity, and these biomolecules give us a broad idea about the health and the disease status in a particular individual. Now as we have already seen that antimicrobial peptides are upregulated in case of periodontal disease and they are downregulated in case of health. So this makes it a good biomarker for monitoring a treatment process. So to quickly recapitulate what we saw in this particular video, we spoke in detail about the antimicrobial peptides. So we spoke about what exactly are these molecules, where exactly are they found. We spoke about the structure and the different types of antimicrobial peptides, and we spoke about the mechanism of action. So I hope this short video on antimicrobial peptides was helpful and it was interesting and it cleared the doubts that you had around this topic. And if there are any further clarifications that are required, then the comment section below is always open. And if you like this video, then please consider subscribing and tapping the bell icon and also liking the video. Until we meet next, take good care of yourself. This is PerioHub signing off.